Hi, my name's Alex White. I'm a PhD candidate in history. For the past 3 years, I've been working on the history of anti-colonial radio broadcasting and its role in the decolonisation of East Africa. And I think radio is a particularly interesting medium to look at in this context, as one of the most dynamic and important forms of political communication in the final years of colonial rule. Between 1940 and 1963, international broadcasters from Cairo, Moscow, Delhi, Beijing, and Accra each created anti colonial services for East African listeners, hoping to combine a diverse group of radical nationalists into a cohesive campaign against imperialism. I'm interested in how these broadcasts were produced, and how East Africans fled to anti colonial hubs to broadcast back to their home countries. Anti colonial broadcasting was more than just dry rhetoric, but incorporated songs, poetry, and even radio plays that attacked not just Europeans, but black Africans who were seen to be an enemy to leftist interests. But I'm particularly interested in how those messages were interpreted and redeployed within East Africa itself. One of the most important audiences to anti colonial broadcasting was probably the colonial state itself. In the final decades of British rule, after all, colonial authorities devoted ever increasing resources to listening and responding to the claims of anti colonial broadcasters. New services for East Africa from colonial governments and from the BBC were consistently framed as a response to anti colonial radio and even adopted some of their most effective techniques. However, the British state was also let down by a racist and dismissive view of East African audiences as naive and unintelligent. Ironically, it was this colonial belief in the credulity of African listeners that caused the British authorities to devote so much time and so many resources to undermining subversive broadcasts. For this reason, I suggest that historians should adopt a bifurcated view of radio audiences. Real radio audiences exerted a definite influence in the final years of British rule. However, it is just as necessary to examine the audience as imagined by British officials, a spectre of mass unrest which turned British East Africa into a vulnerable and nervous state.